keep your credit monitoring on check. Not for us. This is for you. Why? Because guess what? The interested party here in having healthy credit, it's not us, it's you. Hi friends, it's me, Justo, the president and CEO of Buildworth Strategies. As you already know, I have a channel called the J Lobos channel where I'm gonna come with information on credit, financial advice, and all in between. Today, I wanted to go ahead and talk about a little bit about credit monitoring and the importance of it and things that I've been able to do because of me being able to monitor my credit, put my credit in a position where now I'm reaping a lot of benefits, a lot of rewards, and there is a lot of benefits of just having credit monitoring, not only for the purposes of seeing your score, but as well as other incentives that come with it, like identity theft protection, things of that nature. So that's exactly what we're gonna go ahead and talk about today. So check it out. This actually, it took me out. Or boom, boom, boom. Okay, so a little bit of background on me, especially with my own credit. You guys might have seen a couple of videos that I've been part of, especially with Keeping It Real or even with Ray Bueno, obviously. But I've spoken a little bit about myself, a little bit about my credit history. And to be honest with you, credit, even though that I've always felt that it was important, I didn't really give it the level of attention that I give it to it now. And part of that, it has a lot to do with, I think, what's not in front of you or what you're constantly viewing or what you're constantly monitoring or doing. Sometimes it's not even really tangible, because credit's really not tangible. It's just something that that you can leverage and you can work on it. You could see it on paper, but physically, it's not like I'm buying a phone and I'm going out there and I'm actually, spending $500-600 on something and I'm actually seeing the reward, a cup or something like that. But credit's one of those things that even though that it's not really tangible, it works. And if you leverage it to the point that it could give you that opportunity, or it could give you a position financially that you could reap a lot of rewards, buying a home, buying a car. We're talking about, lower interest rates. Statistically, as a matter of fact, there was a Forbes article that came out and said that a person after the age of 21 with bad credit through their whole life would literally spend a little bit over $250,000 because of interest, because of overpayments, because of deposit or down payments, because of those things. So, obviously credit's always been this, I feel like it's like a taboo kind of thing, that does it work, does it not, how do we fix it? And this is where credit monitoring, it's like a lifeline. I see it. It's kind of like it goes up and down. Credit does fluctuate daily. It can. And if we're not on top of it, we could literally go a month or 2 or 6 months, and then something happens. We want to do an improvement on our home. Maybe we had an issue with our car, it broke down, and then all of a sudden we run to the dealership, we run to the mortgage company or the bank, and guess what? We find out there's something in there that's holding us back, or now we can't go ahead and move forward because there's some sort of issue. So this is where having credit monitoring, for me, even if you have bad credit, it should be important. As a matter of fact, if you have bad credit, it's even that much important. If you know that in the future, and again, maybe not now, and I always say this saying to my peoples, it's best to have it and not need it than to want it and can't get it. So working on something as important as credit is really important, because it's going to give you that edge. It's going to give you the opportunity to be able to do things at a better rate, better cost. And overall, you're going to take so much advantage of different things. You're going to feel comfortable, confident. You're going to walk into it. You're going to be like, yeah, let me get that chair. Let me get that TV. And you're going to get approved You're not even going to worry about it because guess what? Before you went into the store, you went online, you checked it out, you went on your phone, and guess what? You saw what your scores were, and you're like, you know what? Oh man, look, I have a 750. Or look, you know what? I'm not going to apply for something because I don't have the score. So it's going to relieve you from certain heartache as having too many inquiries or walking in somewhere. Because guess what? It's happened to me. I've walked into a dealership and it's like, you're all sweating. You don't even know what's going to happen. Hopefully they're going to toss it up. The manager's talking to my salesperson and then they're going into the other room and you're like, bro, what's happening? But you know what? If you would have gone in there with a plan, an action plan, because again, credit is just one out of many things that you're going to need in order for you to be eligible for certain loans. So obviously there's other things like your income, employment, your debt, to income ratio, things of that nature. But credit could give you a lot of leverage. This is where the flexibility comes in. So having really good credit, guess what? Could be the determining factor of an underwriter saying, you know what? We were going to be able to go to 41% debt to income ratio because of your scores. We're going to push it up to 50. Or you know what? Because of your credit scores, now the car that you were looking for, we're going to be able to give you this rate. So how are we able or how are we monitoring this tool that, you know, it's so important in everybody's life, especially for my young people? This is something that everybody has to have. And again, I've spoken about it before. We talk about people have car insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, but where is that insurance for my credit, which has a determining factor on all these other things. For now, credit, you need to open a bank account, you need credit. So again, if you guys want to go ahead and roll dices, then credit monitoring might not be so important. But to me, it's like a way of life in a sense. As a matter of fact, personally, I have a couple of credit monitorings. I have Credit Check Total, I like because it gives me a FICO score. I have Privacy Guard because it gives it to me every 30 days. So on the 15th, I get Credit Check Total. On the 30th or towards the end of the month, I get Privacy Guard. So I have 15 days intervals to be able to see that. Credit Karma, I have them. Again, there's nothing wrong with Credit Karma. So for the people that are actually, you know, with the mobile app of Credit Karma, that's a cool app to have. But keep in mind, they don't have Experian. The credit score is kind of too well off. Why? Because they have what's called the Vantage 3.0 platform, which has a 6 tier. So if you're looking at the FICO scoring platform, it has 5. So that additional one is based on limits. That alone could take you off the score. So I have them because I love they have this little thing that you're able to go ahead and if you pay off this debt, it's going to give you an increase of score. It gives you certain recommendations as to what you could go ahead and apply. That's pretty cool, right? But there's also other companies. I also have myfico.com, Identity IQ, LifeLock I have, and I also have Privacy Assist. I used to work for Bank of America. And I was grandfathered in, and I've never canceled it. It's like $11 a month. I've always kept it, even though I don't use it as much. But that's how important credit monitoring is to me. Then this is obviously why I'm doing this video. Because you know what? If I've been able to take advantage of it to get to the point that now I was offered an American Express Platinum. Now I was able to go into the Lexus dealership changing some tires, and this dude's telling me, Justo, instead of you changing the tires, $1,200. You look, as a matter of fact, your payment history and where your scores are at right now, they do soft inquiries and stuff like that. They check you out. Why don't you go ahead and trade that in, get a brand new car, pay the same thing? You know, there's a lot of win-win situations when it comes to actually monitoring your credit. So back to this. Remember, guys, if you're that person, if you're doing your own disputes, if you're that person that either is considering credit repair, maybe working with a credit repair company, maybe working with us, keep your credit monitoring on check. Not for us. This is for you. Why? Because guess what? The interested party here in having healthy credit, it's not us, it's you. When you go ahead and start disputing, as an example, I've actually had a couple of people, even on the channel, You guys are doing your own disputes. Fantastic, man. I give you more power to you. Again, if you guys have any questions or concerns about certain things, however, we could go ahead and shed some light. We want to go ahead and provide that to you. But keep in mind, sometimes we can't count on the bureaus. I can't count on the agencies, because even though that we do mail and return receipt, even though we make sure that the letters went ahead and got sent out, the bureaus received it because obviously we have notification of it, but we can't count on the bureaus to send us the correspondence that's going to determine if something was investigated or not. So it's either going to prolong your process or it's going to expedite it. And this is where having credit monitoring can mean the difference of either you getting to your goal fast or prolonging the situation. So having credit monitoring, for those people who are looking to do your own disputes or you're doing your own disputes, I hope you have something right now in place as a safeguard, as a backup. Another thing too, keep in mind, because even though that the agency send you all the correspondence, sometimes I've gotten double responses, meaning that, and again, you try to hold yourself off, because if you've already given the amount of time, which is 30 business days, the agencies go ahead and respond back to you. Sometimes they might send you what's called a stall letter. They have about 7 different types of templates to buy themselves time. And every time that you send a dispute, if they're not able to conclude the dispute, they send you a stall letter, which basically says that that they're going to require additional documentation. There's some sort of like fraud alert or things like that. Some people who are not knowledgeable in that process will literally resend docs. You give the agencies an extended amount of another 15 more days to dispute. But what I like to do is, obviously, that's a good indicator that they got what you sent them over. That to me, as a credit repair company, that's how I look for certain things, right? But for you, let's say if, okay, fine, they went ahead and they sent that stall letter. Fantastic. Now, you don't send them anything back. They don't send you anything additional. How are you supposed to know the investigation results? So if that's the only thing that you're counting on, and again, if you're using Credit Karma, you have TransUnion, you have Equifax, but you don't have Experian, and Experian is really important, because Chase, Bank of America, all the top lenders use that. Out of the 3 agencies, that's the only one out of the 3 that's actually home-based. So because of that, they're really good at archiving information. Statistically, based on even on our results, that's usually the ones that's the last to go. That's the last one to fall. That's the last one to complete investigations, things like that. At the end, obviously, all 3 are important. So if you don't have something like a privacy guard, a credit check total of my FICO, and you don't have a comprehensive report that gives you all 3 reports on one platform, because there's another thing too. A lot of people have told me, Huto, no, I actually have the Capital one. That's a TransUnion one. Oh, and I also have this other one, and I'm also paying for Experian. Listen, have something comprehensive, something that gives it to you straight in one line, easy to read. That's why we use Privacy Guard. It's very economical. It's $1 to sign up, and at the end, it makes so much of a difference. So going back to the people that are looking to dispute, or you're already disputing your own credit, have something in place. So that's obviously from the jump. That's going to help you to expedite certain things. Sometimes you get correspondence from the agencies that does not appear, or it's not concise with what the credit monitoring has. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I prefer to look at the credit monitoring compared to the investigation results. These results sometimes come a little bit hazy. It could be a little bit confusing, especially to the untrained eye. So credit monitoring is going to give you that information. So this is one thing I tell my clients, especially when we go ahead and enroll into the service. The number one thing when we go ahead and offer a free credit evaluation, what do? Do you have credit monitoring? Do you have a credit report? Because there's nobody that's going to be able to give you accurate information. You're not going to have those details without that information. And guess what? That's not for my benefit. So once you've gone into the program, and even after you've graduated the program, I want you to keep it. Because what's the purpose of working so hard to achieve a certain score, and then once we get there, okay, well, let's go ahead and just drop this off? That doesn't make any sense, at least not to me. So I highly encourage you guys to have some system in place. If you have Credit Karma, cool, man. Go ahead and sign up to Privacy Guard. Compare them. Because guess what? There's over 100 scoring platforms, and they're all different. So it's one thing that I tell my peoples. I don't focus on a score initially. I focus on the content. of what exactly is reporting on your credit report, because I'm here to make a change on your credit report. And the more data that we have, the better position that we're going to be in, the more information that we're going to use to be able to challenge the information. So this is one of the things that I always I'm so adamant about when it comes to credit repair. This is the first thing that I always run into, I jump into. It's the first thing that I emphasize so much, because we need these safeguards. This is like insurance for us. This is insurance for our credit, right? Think about it from that point. It's a small investment. We spend so much money, so much time, and other things, that this is something that we have to put that attention to. So I highly encourage, for those people who are even working with a credit repair company, if the credit repair company has not mentioned credit monitoring, they're telling you to go into their own online portal so that you're able to see the results. Guess what? You don't have to take my word for it. Go into your credit monitoring, because guess what? Your credit monitoring is a third-party site that has no affiliation. By law, there's no credit repair company that could be affiliated with a credit monitoring. It's a conflict of interest. So if I'm going to go ahead and start disputing for you as a credit repair company, or you're working with one, it's in your best interest to have credit monitoring. So this way, when the agent calls you, or when we call you and we're trying to give you results, guess what? You have something in front of you that it's not coming from my proprietary platform. It's not coming from my CRM. It's not coming from anywhere. Guess what? It's coming from somewhere else. And this is how you're able to identify, was something done, was something not. As a matter of fact, even in your credit monitoring, you could even have traces of information such as account being disputed, account under investigation, consumer disagrees. So you start literally seeing if somebody's working for you or not. So even though mail and return receipt, that's cool. But guess what? If I made a return receipt something and I put the wrong address or the wrong department, or who knows? Because guess what? There's a ton of phone numbers that Equifax has, fax numbers as well. You can fax in information, by the way. You can mail in the information, but guess what? There's different stations for them. There's different locations. Who are we sending the information to? Are we looking at it online? Because sometimes, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but sometimes the address changes, or that fax number is no longer available, or is no longer intact. So where is this information? So the best way to find out, obviously, it is receiving the correspondence from the bureaus. Second off, going into your credit monitoring, seeing where you stand. Besides that, guys, there's benefits that come with it, such as they have identity theft protection. That they could. It's not like the LifeLock, because LifeLock is pretty cool. They do like a comprehensive kind of. They look forward. So if somebody's gonna apply, you get a notification right quick. If you guys actually are interested in LifeLock, I have it myself. And so God forbid something happens, somebody does identity theft, and guess what? They do up to $1 million to try to recuperate all that money back. So obviously that's something that you guys could benefit from. It would be kind of scary to have identity theft and not have a backup, not have something in place. So again, this is like insurance. Privacy Guard they do that too, up to $1 million. You could contact them. They could cancel your credit cards, order you new ones. As a matter of fact, if you've had fraud in a different state, you had to go and travel to Los Angeles or wherever you have to travel to, and you're going to lose hours of work, they could even go ahead and compensate you for that. So as long as you log that down, you have receipts, you send that over to them, that's part of the package. So they have different structures. MyFICO.com has it. Credit Check Total has it. So, and only having credit monitoring, it's not only important for us to help you to establish it, because that's something that we do and we open it for you. And if you're working for a credit repair company, if you're working with a credit repair company and they open up a credit monitoring for you, you know what? Get the username, get the password, get what you need, the credentials, and log in yourself. Because guess what? You're the one that has to be in charge. You're the one that has to know how to read your credit. So, and as a matter of fact, they even have information on certain things. So if you click on this and you read, okay, oh, that impacts that. Oh, that impacts this. Oh, I could go ahead and do that, or I could go ahead and do this. And you're constantly on top of it. We need to know this like the back of our hands, guys. Paying bills on time, that's a must. That's a given. But monitoring where you stand, that's really important. So Before applying for anything, double check your credit monitoring. If you're working with a credit repair company, or you're considering that, have that tool already set in place. It just talks volume about you. It talks about, you know what, you see the importance of it. You value your own credit. You're trying to get to know more of that side. We weren't taught this in school. It sucks, obviously, but this is something that you can learn. So if you're already working with a credit repair company, don't cancel it. This is not doing us a benefit. It's doing you the benefit. This is going to help you, not us. So maintain it. As a matter of fact, as a little quick tip before I let you guys go, you could literally call. I know Credit Check Total. I know Privacy Guard. If you tell them, hey, listen, it's kind of expensive. I have my credit report. If you guys have any kind of discounts, if I could take advantage of that because it's too expensive. And most companies will literally not want to let you go, and they'll cut that payment, whatever it is, $19.99, $29.99, and they'll cut that junk in half. That's an advantage. So for $10, for $15, what we spend on a McDonald's meal, we have now a system, a tool, not only by phone but by computer or whatnot, to be able to be checking continuously. Credit's something that you could never stop working on, guys. Myself, I'm continually, as a matter of fact, I was talking to my processing team, I'm like, you better send those next rounds of disputes because I have a lot of inquiries. I leverage a lot my credit for the business. And even though I don't have negative information, but, I'm not going to be submitting any applications without knowing exactly where I'm at. And it just gives me peace of mind. It gives me somewhere that I could actually lean to. I could literally see my scores go up and down based on my, the things that I do, the changes that I make, the expenses that I use, things of that nature. So I highly encourage anybody. So if you're looking to repair your credit, doing your own credit repair, working with a company, if you're somebody with bad credit, excellent credit, use credit monitoring, man. So there's nothing else really that I could elaborate on. It just works. It works for you, and it's an advantage. It's a benefit. The average consumer is oblivious to this information, and just like we weren't taught this in high school or in college, just get up to speed, get up to game. There's so many of them out there. Do your homework, do your research, enroll yourself into one of them, and I'll see you at the top. I hope this message was very educational, and I hope you could take this and I hope it helps you the way it's helped me, and the way it is helping me right now, because I'm at a different level financially, and I leverage credit like crazy. It's such a blessing. I'm going to Paris, France, just because of the reward points that I'm able to accumulate on my American Express. So, and I would have never gotten there blinded. So, and that's what happens. So, guys, thank you so much for staying tuned. I got more information, more things that I want to go over with you guys. So thank you so much for listening. Take care.